wouldn't be able to do these awful things to me if I weren't still in this chair.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
She feared for her life on a movie set, insisting that a fake knife be used for a pivotal scene. This wasn't just method acting gone too far. This was the reality for Bette Davis, one of the most celebrated actresses in Hollywood's golden age. But why did she feel so threatened that she would fear being stabbed on a movie set? Her path to stardom was far from smooth, and her personal life was as dramatic as any role she ever played. But before her death, she finally admitted how much she truly hated her bitter rival. Davis's childhood was marked by her parents' separation when she was just 7 years old. Raised primarily by her mother, Ruthie, Davis developed a fierce independence that would serve her well in the cutthroat world of Hollywood. She attended Cushing Academy, a boarding school in Ashburnham, Massachusetts, where she first discovered her passion for acting. In 1926, an 18-year-old Davis saw a production of Henrik Ibsen's The Wild Duck. This performance would prove pivotal, inspiring Davis to pursue a career in theatre. She later said, "The reason I wanted to go into theatre was because of an actress named Peg Entwistle." Davis's journey to stardom was not without its hurdles. Her first screen test for Universal Studios in 1930 was a disaster. She was even told she had about as much sex appeal as Slim Somerville, a lanky character actor known for his comedic roles. But Davis was not one to give up easily. Her breakthrough came 4 years later in 1934, with her role as the vicious and slovenly Mildred Rogers in Of Human Bondage. Despite critical acclaim, Davis was shockingly snubbed for an Oscar nomination, causing such an uproar that the Academy changed its voting rules the following year. Davis went on to win her first Academy Award for Best Actress in 1935 for her role in Dangerous. However, she famously referred to it as a consolation prize for her overlooked performance in Of Human Bondage. Throughout her career, Davis was known for her willingness to play unsympathetic characters and her insistence on realism in her performances. This dedication to her craft often put her at odds with studio executives and directors, earning her a reputation as difficult to work with. Davis's relationship with Warner Brothers, the studio she was contracted to for much of her early career, was often contentious. In 1936, she sued the studio to get out of her contract, a bold move that few actors dared to make at the time. Although she lost the case, it set a precedent for future actors seeking more control over their careers, yet again being somewhat of a pioneer in the industry. Davis's personal life was equally tumultuous. She married 4 times, with each relationship ending in divorce or, in one case, her husband's untimely death. Her first marriage to Harmon Nelson in 1932 was scrutinized by the press due to the vast difference in their earnings. Davis was reportedly making $1,000 a week, while Nelson earned just $100. One of Davis's most memorable roles was in the 1938 film Jezebel, directed by William Wyler. Her portrayal of Julie Marsden, a strong-willed Southern belle, earned her a second Academy Award. The film showcased Davis's ability to play complex, often unlikable characters with depth and nuance. During the production of this film, she entered into a relationship with director William Wyler. She later described Wyler as the love of my life, and the time making the film as the time in my life of my most perfect happiness. Davis's career continued to soar throughout the 1940s, with critically acclaimed performances in films like The Little Foxes in 1941 and Now Voyager in 1942. However, her personal life continued to be in turmoil, to say the least. Her second marriage to Arthur Farnsworth ended tragically with his death in 1943, under circumstances that led to a police investigation. His death was shrouded in mystery and speculation, capturing significant public attention in 1943. Farnsworth collapsed on a Hollywood street and later died in the hospital, which prompted a police investigation due to the unexpected nature of his death. An autopsy revealed a skull fracture, raising suspicions of foul play, as the injury appeared to be several days old. Bette Davis was questioned, and she claimed that Farnsworth had fallen down a flight of stairs at their home weeks earlier. The coroner's inquest became a sensational affair, with the media intensely scrutinizing Davis, already embroiled in personal and professional drama. Ultimately, the jury ruled Farnsworth's death an accident, But the case added to the intrigue surrounding Davis, as whispers of scandal and tension followed her long after the verdict was delivered. In 1945, Davis married artist William Grant Sherry. The following year, at the age of 39, she gave birth to her daughter, Barbara Davis Sherry, known as BD. However, this marriage too would end in divorce in 1950. As the 1950s dawned, Davis found herself struggling to maintain her position in Hollywood. The changing tastes of post-war America and the rise of television posed challenges to many established stars. However, Davis wasn't ready to fade away just yet. In 1950, she starred in All About Eve, delivering one of her most iconic performances as Margot Channing. The film not only revitalized her career, but also gave her this immortal line.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Her performance earned her another Oscar nomination and the Cannes Film Festival Award for Best Actress. During the production of All About Eve, Davis began a romantic relationship with her co-star Gary Merrill. They married shortly after the film wrapped, with Merrill adopting BD, and the couple adopting 2 more children together. However, their marriage would only last until 1960. Their time together was marked by frequent arguments and allegations of alcohol abuse and domestic violence. Throughout her career, Davis was known for her distinctive acting style and her willingness to take on challenging roles. She once said, "I do not regret one professional enemy I have made. Any actor who doesn't dare to make an enemy should get out of the business." This attitude served her well in an industry known for its competitiveness. Since Davis's career spanned several decades, she witnessed significant changes in the film industry, adapting to the transition from silent films to talkies, the introduction of Technicolor, and the rise of television. Her ability to evolve with these changes contributed to her longevity in the industry. In 1962, Davis actually placed an advertisement in Variety, the trade publication for the entertainment industry, stating, "Mother of 3, 10, 11, and 15, divorcee, American. 30 years experience as an actress in motion pictures. Mobile still and more affable than rumor would have it. Wants steady employment in Hollywood. Has had Broadway." This bold move led to her casting in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. This role would define the latter part of her career, but would also escalate a legendary feud. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane cast Davis opposite Joan Crawford, another aging star looking for a comeback. The rivalry between Bette Davis and Joan Crawford is one of the most infamous in Hollywood history, characterized by a mix of personal animosity and professional jealousy that spanned decades. While the tensions between these two legendary actresses is often associated with their time filming Baby Jane, the roots of their feud can be traced back to the 1930s. The feud allegedly began when Joan Crawford married actor Franchot Tone in 1935, a move that infuriated Bette Davis. Davis had developed feelings for Tone while they were working together on the film Dangerous, but Crawford swept in and captured his attention. Davis later reflected on this, stating that she never forgave Crawford for marrying Tone, feeling she had stolen him away. This incident set the stage for a long-standing rivalry that would only intensify over the years. By the time they were cast in Baby Jane, both actresses were past their prime as Hollywood leading ladies and were seeking career revivals. The casting was a stroke of genius by director Robert Aldrich, who understood that the real-life animosity between the two stars would add an electrifying layer on the film's narrative. The dynamic on set was fraught with tension and animosity, adding authenticity to their on-screen conflict. Throughout filming, their off-screen antics made headlines. Davis, known for her bold and sometimes abrasive personality, had a tendency to speak her mind, often at the expense of her co-star. She once quipped to the press that the best time I ever had with Joan Crawford was when I pushed her down the stairs in Baby Jane. Crawford, known for her cunning and manipulative tactics, was equally determined to make life difficult for Davis. She would spread rumors and plant stories in the press to undermine Davis's reputation, contributing to the tense atmosphere. During the filming, Davis reportedly kicked Crawford in the head during a scene where her character attacks Crawford's. Whether this was accidental or intentional has been debated, but it certainly added to the tension on set. Crawford allegedly retaliated by wearing weights under her costume in scenes where Davis had to drag her across the floor, making the task much more difficult for her co-star. The on-set tension between Davis and Crawford was like none other. Davis was so concerned about Crawford's intensity that she insisted on using a fake knife for a pivotal scene where Crawford's character threatened her with a blade. The fear was real. Davis was genuinely worried that Crawford might actually stab her. Their rivalry reached a fever pitch during the Academy Awards. After Davis received an Oscar nomination for her performance in Baby Jane, Crawford's machinations reached new heights. As the ceremony approached, Crawford actively campaigned against Davis, contacting the other nominees in the Best Actress category. Her aim was to prevent Davis from winning by offering to accept the award on behalf of those who couldn't attend. Crawford's strategy succeeded, and when Anne Bancroft was announced as the winner, Crawford took to the stage, basking in the spotlight, while Davis watched helplessly from the audience. Even after Crawford's death in 1977, Davis's feelings towards her remained unchanged. But it wasn't until the twilight of her life that Davis finally opened up about the true depths of her feelings towards her longtime rival. At the age of 81, just a few years before her death, Davis admitted in an interview the extent of her animosity towards Crawford. She stated bluntly, "I wouldn't piss on Joan Crawford if she was on fire."